Hey, hey everyone. Happy Friday. It's me, your pal Chris. Um I'm here. It's been a week. My kid has been sick all week and he's been home from school. Today's the first day he's back at school. Um so I'm uh you know, I'm here. Also, I got to my desk a little bit early today and I keep getting alerts to update my streaming software. So I was like, I'll just do it. It broke everything. So I pieced together most of everything, but there may be some issues. I'm hoping that's not the case, but here we are. It's live. Uh, I have it. I have problems. Um, it looks like there's a lot of people here. I'm happy to be s- streaming, drawing some names. Um, Lots of familiar faces in the chat. Alexa Gray, you said you just downloaded Fresco yesterday and you're excited for today's stream. That is awesome. Kyborg, you said thank you again for taking the time to comment on your X-ray and artwork in Discord. Of course. I try to remember to go on Discord as much as possible. I keep ending up being crazy busy, mainly because things keep happening. Like this week, I lost almost every day of the week. So a little behind on things. Anyway, um, today's live stream, we'll be drawing names again. If you are new to these streams, I try to do it as fair as possible, doing a first come, first serve situation from when the live stream goes up. I just go and get the first commenters' names and draw those. You are able to skip the line with a super chat of $20 and up. But otherwise, I do it first come, first serve to just try to keep it fair. I've been doing these like every Friday for a while now. That wasn't initially the plan. It was supposed to be like a once in a while thing, but it keeps happening. So who knows? It may stay that way for a while. So thank you for tuning in. Couple quick announcements. I mentioned this last Friday, but I'm in the I switched over to Patreon from YouTube memberships. The YouTube memberships is still active, but I'm trying to do it in like a slow thing, so I don't just like cut current members off if they don't know about Patreon, because I haven't done like an official announcement besides like a community post and mentioning it here. So I'm replacing most everything but the most basic tier on YouTube memberships with Patreon, because it would be so much easier for me to communicate directly with all of you. And, I can just do so much more with Patreon. So that's what we're going to do. Just a special shout out to the early adapters and early switchers. There was a few additions this morning, but as of last night, these were the current people who have switched over from YouTube to Patreon. So thank you all so very much. You can find a link below if I remembered. There's a good chance I didn't, because I am a hot mess. But because YouTube membership is still alive, I just got to shout out my super sporters and above. Without you, this couldn't be possible. So as you can see, there's a lot more people still on YouTube. So we're going to have to shut this down soon to move it over to Patreon. So if you're one of these people, you can go ahead and cancel this and move over to Patreon. Okay. Let's see. What else? Sorry, my buttons are all broken because of launching the software. Kyborg, you said that you hope I start feeling like a cool cucumber soon. I would love to feel like a cool cucumber. I'm working on that. Also, I didn't fix the button, but you can use the promo code LIVE, LIVE, in my shop to get a discount. And all of my members or patrons get a special extra discount too in your perks. You can check that out. Rob Russell, you said happy Friday, everyone. Thanks for the drawing last week. Missed it being done live and was shocked when I saw. Oh, awesome. Sylvie Hart. Been there, kids getting sick all the time and not super fun. No, it feels like they're just relentlessly sick and getting me sick. It's nuts. And when I say they, I mean I just have one kid. Exploronot said, "You're homesick from work. Oh, bummer. I hope you feel better, but glad you could make the stream." Scotty, you said that I did your name last week and you wanted to say thank you. Might get it tatted on your face. I support it. I think. I got to remember what I drew, but whatever you want to do. One icon pick said, "These have been so inspiring. Even started using Fresco. Awesome. So glad it's been inspirational." Hank D, howdy. Found you watching 1000. Ended up going down the rabbit hole. Watched a bunch of videos. Awesome. 1000's super cool. It's fun doing that challenge with him. And so glad that you're enjoying my content. Mahalo Arsenovic. I don't know if I said that right, but I was confident when I said it. You said, "Does Fresco get laggy when using many layers because there's no layer limit?" Because once it got kind of buggy, so maybe it's because of too many layers. I have not experienced that, and I did a test. I have a video where I use like an old iPad mini, like a 2018 iPad Pro, an iPad Air, and I was playing around with a complicated multi-layer high-resolution animated file, and I had no issues. It could be different on Windows, but Fresco was built from the ground up for the iPad, so it's like so well optimized that it doesn't take much. Some people think that it's being laggy when they're using the brush smoothing turned all the way up because maybe they're used to different apps like Procreate does streamline different than smoothing in Fresco. So when you have the smoothing up to 100%, what it's doing is your draw and it's cleaning up your line. So that lag you see is Fresco redoing your line to make it more smooth. It's like analyzing it and doing that stuff. So if you turn that down and then draw, you'll see there shouldn't be any lag. Hopefully that helps. Let me just tell you that in the shop we got a bunch of new stickers. So, and speaking of stickers, one of the new perks for Patreon is a monthly sticker club where you get a new sticker sent to you every month. There's also a sticker club video hangout every month where it's all the sticker club members. We all get together and we talk and draw. Maybe we do live drawings. That's what we do. We just, hi. Also, if you go on Patreon, you can check out the benefits listed in the collections tab over there. Okay. I'm going to switch over to my iPad and start drawing names so we can get into it. Hopefully that works. Okay, it worked. Wonderful. Octorage, you said, "Do you watch other creators on YouTube? I feel like you would be an amazing and a draw-free episode with some silly prompts." I do watch other creators on YouTube, but I don't know draw-free. I'll have to check that out. But it sounds like it would be fun. And then Steven, you said, "Is there a way to remove the circle crosshairs in Fresco? It's annoying." I don't know what you mean. The circle crosshairs, it could be your, if you go into the app settings, maybe you're using something. I don't remember what it is. Because I don't have that. I don't have crosshairs. So, I don't know. Let me see if I can turn on some background music. And the first name that is getting drawn is Alexa Gray. As mentioned, do these first come, first serve. And you do have the ability to skip the line with a super chat of $20 and above. But otherwise, I'm just starting from the top and working my way down. So we just write the name down first, as always. Gets me in the zone. And, I just gotta get in here and try to figure it out. Usually the first one is me trying to figure everything out, so I'm just kind of playing around. I don't know. We'll see if this leads me anywhere. Sometimes things with X's are tricky because of like the negative space, but maybe we can do something fun with that. Maybe we can do like one of those lowercase a's like that. I don't know. Who knows? Let's see where this goes. Maybe a fancy lowercase g situation. But then all of a sudden we're like, oh, we got a uppercase R too. I don't know why. Maybe it's a bad idea, but we're just figuring it out right now. It might be good, it might be bad. We got all these tails coming off these letters. It's kind of turning into like a sea of things, but it's not, it doesn't seem hopeless. So what I'll do is just bring down the transparency and try to see what's working here and try to make it a little bit better. So maybe these, if these little curves sort of line up, it might look good. Then like maybe this one could kind of come in here. I don't know. I'm just playing. I can't tell you anything insightful about this. I'm gonna look at the chat in a second, but I'm not in the zone yet, so I'm trying to figure stuff out. Eggy Orphan, you said, is there any way to make art in Fresco CMYK? I want to print out my art. Okay, so there's not a CMYK color profile in Fresco, but I would ask, how are you printing out your art? Because the only time you specifically really need to spec CMYK is if you're having it printed on like a printing press with 4-color process, and that is rare. And as someone who, like, I am a professional illustrator, so this is what I do for a living, and I still do 99% of my work in Fresco. There are situations where I do work that needs to be printed that way. So what I'll do to make sure that my colors are accurate is that I will go into like Photoshop or something and just like get my color palette sorted, and then use the translations into RGB, and then I just switch them back when I just like open the file back up in Photoshop, because Fresco files are Photoshop files, and then I can just switch it back and no issue. But it's very rare that it needs to be CMYK. In fact, almost all digital printers or like non-printing presses are set to emulate RGB color, because that's what everyone's used to seeing. So they're optimized for RGB in nearly all cases. So like especially anything with like print on demand, that's all optimized for RGB because it's meant to cater to the average person, whereas CMYK is not optimized for screen use, so it's a little bit different, and you really want to be using swatches like color guides where you're looking at physical swatches, because there's so much difference in monitor calibration. So it could be that. Okay. I think this is looking pretty good. Let's make sure I didn't spell this wrong. I didn't. So what I'm gonna do is delete this other stuff, and I'm gonna make it bigger and do a cleaner version of this. Let's bring down the opacity. Switch over to the classic inker for my Retro Supply Co pack, and I'm just gonna get in here and do this. I often start with the letters that I think are less refined and do them first. I actually got a message on Instagram this morning where someone was asking why I don't do my letters in order, like if there's a reason for it, and that's actually why, because I am trying to, like, I start with the problem areas, and by fixing those, it really changes the way the other letters interact with them. For example, this E is going to have to be tweaked a little bit because it'd be too close to the X as it is now. Same with the other letters. Probably move the A a little bit. So they're all sort of affecting how the other letters look. So I start with the ones that need help first, and then the other ones I can adjust accordingly. Glenn Howard, you said, I would like to thank you for all your amazing videos. You gave me tips I needed to find. It helped me create your first children's book, and it's selling. That is amazing. I'm so glad to hear. Thank you so much. I don't know if you all know, but the channel is so close to hitting 100,000 subscribers, which is kind of blowing my mind. So tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell them that there's this channel and this guy who's just kind of weird and a little crazy, has a lot of ADHD, but sometimes he draws some funny things, and sometimes there's like I'm gonna draw this line 17 times. Sometimes he draws a butt with arms and legs. And then also, let's see if my little animation works. Yeah, let's go ahead and smash my thumbs so that people can see this. Because that's how YouTube knows to push it out to other people. I wish that I could figure out how to get the sound to work when I play that animation, because I feel like the sound is what really it makes that little animation funnier. If you've seen it in other videos, it pops in from time to time, but he kind of smashes into the ground, and it's pretty funny, I think. Kyle Anderson, you said that you just listened to my podcast with Andy J. Pizza. Great episode. Power Cloud for sure. Awesome. Yeah, if you don't know, I was on the most recent episode of Creative Pep Talk. And if you don't know the podcast Creative Pep Talk, you are missing out. It is by my pal Andy J. Pizza, and he's been doing it for years. So there's a big archive of episodes, and they're just super, super great. Can't recommend it enough. And it was fun to chat with him and catch up. I was actually on an episode many years ago. And we actually recorded that one in person at his house, which was fun. So there's 2 episodes with me. I was like a totally different person during that last one. That was before being a dad. I was still doing my 14-year daily drawing project. I really need to fix this. I guess the music is loud. You know what? I think this mix is an issue because the songs are different volumes. Maybe I'll switch to the other one. I think the old one had less of an issue. We'll see. Marcus Vixer, good day, checking in from Australia. Isn't it crazy late in Australia right now? What are you doing? Do you need to be in bed? I think you might. Also, you're in the future. Is everything okay? Am I still there? Okay, this looks nice and clean and simple. I kind of like it. I think I just want to make it pop a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is put a border around it and fill it in so we can get the negative space to have some, make the letters read more. I think, I'm not 100% sure. We're gonna try it both ways. Hank D, you said, you've probably answered this 100 times, but how do you handle creative block? More and more it seems I've hit a wall and can't get past it. Yeah, creative block is real and rough. I do have some videos about it. I think I actually have one that's like, how creative block led to my dream client. But like early on, so like I mentioned a minute ago that I did a daily drawing project for like 14 years, and like very, very early into that, I was like, oh, I got no ideas. There's nothing to draw. And that's actually how I started doing like a lot more lettering, because I would have no idea for a drawing, and then I would just like listen to music or like read an article or watch the news and just wait for something, and then I would just like find some sort of crazy thing or funny thing or not funny thing, and I would just draw that. So another thing that I like to do is maybe like revisit old stuff and like see if I can do it better. Sometimes I find the best thing to do is to just start making something, or just know that you're just gonna draw something bad to get in the zone. Yeah, that helps a lot. I like that. Cool. I hope you like it, Alexa. Let's, what is happening right now? I'm not trying to transfer. Oh, I had the wrong layer selected. Okay. Let's get the next up is a super chat. Thanks, super chat. I'm not saying thanks, super chat. I'm saying thanks, Emily Tracy. I don't know if it's actually Emily because it's spelled differently, so I'm sorry if it's not. Let's see. M and then Emily. Is it Emily? Like Lorelei? Are you friends with Rory? That was a little Gilmore Girls joke, if you catch my drift. All right. Emily. Okay. Tracy. What are we gonna do with this? Maybe play around with some script? See where that gets us? Oh, yeah, this E would be kind of tricky. I don't know. We may abandon this script, but sometimes I like to start with it and see if there's something. I do kind of like the double Y's lining up with each other, but the rest of it is not anything yet. But I'm not ready to abandon ship yet. I just think this double Y connection is kind of cool. So maybe I'll start with that and see if we can make something fun from that. Scotty, you said, told your girl the other day, the quote, if no one hates it, no one loves it. Yeah, that is a very true quote. If you just make something that's like, whatever, no one's gonna care. And if nobody cares, that means nobody likes it or hates it. It's funny, not even just in terms of like art and like my drawings, in terms of my videos in general, I get such a broad, like I'll have 2 comments like back to back that show up in my feed where it's like, this is so funny, I love this so much, thank you. And then I'll get a video, like literally I had a comment that someone said, I need to stop trying to be funny. Or they said, you were so unfunny that it actually made me mad. Like, I made them mad. They thought I was so unfunny. So that is a funny thing. If nobody hates it, so something or other. What was I saying? This is kind of fun and fancy. There's just like a lot of space over here, but I'm wondering if what I could do is make like a kind of like a 3D shape from it. Just sort of like balance it out. And then have the letters popped out of that shape. Yeah, I think that's gonna be cool. Let's double check our spelling. Yes, okay. Let's make it bigger. So I am gonna start, no. I was gonna start with, oh, you know what I'll do? All right, let me tell you what I'm thinking about. Sometimes if you are planning to make something knocked out of a shape, like I want the lettering to be white in a black shape, if I start and just draw it black with black lines and then reverse it, it looks like it needs more space, or the line weight looks too heavy or too thin. So what I'm gonna do is fill the background black and then just lower the opacity a little bit. And now I can do the lettering in white and solve that problem. All right. So this curve here is not ideal, so I'm going to try to do that first. I just want to smooth it out a little bit. That's better. Actually, I want the line weight to be a little bit thicker. Kyle Anderson, you said, was your little cloud dude animated in Adobe Animate? Nope, that was done in Fresco. I have actually not really used Adobe Animate at all. I tend to do all of my animation either in Fresco or Photoshop, though I recently played around with Adobe Character Animator again because I hadn't used that in a while, and I used to use it from time to time because it's really fun to, it's like makes it super easy to lip sync. Like you just sort of build your puppet with some different mouths, and then you can just like talk and it'll copy you, and you can like move around and it copies you, and that's really fun. But that's a very specific use case for me. I'm not really like I animate stuff, but I'm not an animator. Like I'm an illustrator that incorporates motion. So actual animation software annoys me. What I like about animating in Photoshop and Fresco is like I have the drawing tools that I prefer. And also Fresco makes it so easy to do like a lot of make some stuff is like crazy, wildly easy in Fresco. You can just like have something animated and moving in like a minute. Kyborg, you said friends. What are those? I don't even remember what that is referencing to. What did I say? What was I talking about? H. Kelly, you said, hey everyone, Chris, you have reignited my creative spark, and I can't thank you enough for that. That is so amazing to hear. I'm so glad. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, now we can go ahead and make the outline shape. So I think what I'll do is start just by outlining it pretty simply like this, and then I'll add the 3D part because I think it'll be less confusing. Okay, so what I'll do now is kind of pull this down. So that would be like that, and then come out a little bit, and then this one. And then we'll just add in for some of these little spots here. Fill, 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 fill. Turn off that, turn off that, and then let's just come in here and fix a couple little things. So that little bump there for the Y, I don't love that, so I'm just gonna get rid of it. And then maybe just kind of smooth that out a little bit. Cool. I like it. I hope you like it too. Let's I'm actually gonna load this as a selection and then just delete it from the black to keep it simple one color thing. Okay. Delete that. Delete that. All right. Thanks again for the super chat. Emily? Kyborg, you said you were saying that your friends... Tell your friends about your... Oh, yeah. Tell your friends about my channel. Well, okay. Tell your enemies, or put up... Make posters and put them on signposts. Is that what we do? Next up is Oct. Or... Age. Octorage. Octo Rage. Octo Rage or Octorage? Octo Rage. The rage of an octopus. I will come at you with the rage of 1,000 octopuses. Octopi. Okay. Let's draw the Octo Rage. I'm just gonna bring the smoothing down so I can draw faster to get Octo Rage. I'm just playing right now. I started catching too big. What did I just lost my mind a little bit, I think. Octo Rage. That looks pretty raging. The shape actually worked out well too. Sometimes I gotta like refine things, but I feel like this has some good energy to it. Maybe just make it a little bit bigger. Let's just get in there. Sometimes it just happens. Okay, I did confirm that it is Octo Rage. Kumano Chi said, how do you develop such a smooth line art and pen control? Well, I think there's a lot of practice. Also, I do, when I'm, like, as you can see, my sketching is like super rough. When I'm doing my final line work, I definitely lean into the, I use the smoothing quite a bit, and that helps. But I think, it's, when you have a lot of practice, it's easier to have more like confident lines. And that, gives you the ability to kind of make smoother lines. Also, I think, it comes down to dialing in your tools, like the brushes that I use, and like just sort of getting it all working perfectly for the way that I draw. I'm putting little almost kind of tail things, just hinting at it loosely on the letters to sort of reference the octo qualities. But I also want it to be ragey, so I'm doing like a shaky line. I'm gonna look at this and see what I can do, because it's not quite there yet. Did I just had like a Valley Girl voice for a second? Like I'm not even gonna do that. I'm losing it. Do I have 2 layers going on? I do. How do I do that? When I am doing one of these and I feel like I'm not fully confident and I'm like trying to figure out what I want to do to fix it, that's when I'm very aware of like the fact that I'm not looking at the chat, and I get a lot of anxiety about it. But I'm like, I need to figure this out. You know what I think might be cool? If we play around with some like octo, like tentacle jobbers. Let me make those less shaky. Just sort of referencing that a little bit. Octorage, you said, in what situations do and don't you use smoothing and why? Well, generally, if I'm doing, I absolutely never use it when I'm sketching, because it slows. You have to be drawing in like a smooth, slow, controlled way to use smoothing. At least I find that to be the case. So never when I'm sketching. And if I am doing anything with like smooth, flowy lines that I want to be really clean, once I have the sketch dialed in, I will just use the smoothing, because it just makes it faster. Like it's more like, even though it's like slower, there's less time that I'm going to be like having to redo my line work. So it's just more efficient, which is crucial for me at this point in my life, and the lack of time that I have available. So yeah, I will use it in most cases for the final line work, unless it's something like like this, where I have like this shaky line and I want that kind of gritty, shaky quality. In that case, I will not use it, because to get that line quality, I need to be like shaky with the hand, like kind of jitter the pencil a bit. So that's when I would turn it off. Anything that I need to do quick motions for, I turn it off. Just putting in a little bit of rage splashes. There is the Octo Rage. I hope you like it and are not filled with rage about it. Michaela Parada, you said you love my work. It's really inspiring. Greetings from Argentina. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Next up on the list is Tony Mueller. Did I spell that right? I did. Okay. Hey, did I mention we have a new Patreon? Have you guys checked it out? Have you gone over there? We got lots of perks, and it's gonna be great because I can do so much more than I was able to do with the YouTube memberships. That said, I am still gonna have a basic tier for the YouTube stuff, just so that some people might want to still use the YouTube specific things like the badges or the emojis or the glory in the chat of having your name be green and have a funny little skull next to it. I do need to update those skulls, since we have several people who have more than like a year under their belt, and I think there's only we don't have that many options. I think Diana Lisa has been a member for like 2 years, which is almost like the whole length of the channel, which is incredible. I'm just playing. I don't really have anything much to tell you. I'm thinking of like doing something that's like really blocked together, and then maybe try like doing an interesting shape to like make it shift the baselines a little bit. We'll see. Maybe we'll go crazy here and do a triple ligature thing, like the LLE. Okay, so what I'm thinking is we could make this more interesting with like some shape. So I'm just making some loose guides here. And then I'll use this to like, I don't know, make it better. 1 hour, one decision. Hey Chris, you've been watching my videos for a bit and you love all the great content. Awesome, that is so great to hear. Thank you. Anna Kate, you said you feel like some Mr. Scruff would be good for background music. I don't know what that is, but it sounds cool. One of the issues is for background music is that I have to not have copyright strike issues. So I have to use music that I have the rights to, and I use a subscription to Epidemic Sound to get music for my videos. So kind of dependent on that. Otherwise, YouTube will be like, copyright infringement, unmonetized. You get kicked off and you go to hell. You go to hell. And that could happen. I don't want that to happen. When you hear me be quiet for extended periods, it means that I am trying. I'm not happy with where things are going in my drawing, and I am trying to figure it out. And that's what's going on right now. I am trying to figure this out so I don't let Tony down. So what I'm going to do is delete this other stuff, delete this, and see if I can make this not garbage. Because I don't like it yet. I'm wondering if, instead of the angles both going the same way, if we have a last name like this, and then like, let's duplicate this, flip it, and let's move it a little bit so there's space. Maybe we should have the angles going like both ways. Maybe that'll lead to something interesting. Okay. Let's make this happen. Starting with a Y, because I'm wondering if maybe we can pull that down like that, and then... Oh, it looks like this is gonna need to be bigger. All right, I think we just need to get more playful. I think one of the issues was it was getting too like static. Okay, let's look at what we have going on here. Let's rotate this down a little bit. I think we can get this somewhere. I'm gonna grab this part and shift it over a little bit. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna use this as like a rough guide, but I'm not gonna draw it exactly like this. going to make it a little bit more, what's the word? Organic. Beza, you said, love your work. Thank you so much. Love to hear that. Boom Bostic, you said you enjoy watching this process so much. I'm so glad to hear. Sometimes I wonder if it's a little chaotic. Uh, 1H1D, you said you'd love to learn more about how you get the idea for compositions with different font styles. So, you know, I think there's a lot of like stuff in my head from like doing it so much that I just sort of like lean on or come back to. I think I've just like all this like weird inspiration from a variety of different sources, from like old cartoons to like, you know, punk rock, metal, old like 90s hip hop stuff. Like all this stuff just sort of like converges into stuff that is sort of like a visual library in my head that I've kind of played with and made my own. I also like, I can't say enough about the fact that I did daily drawings for so many years that it's just that process of like doing a drawing every day, no matter what, kind of forces you through stuff, and it makes a lot of stuff kind of, I don't know, you get out of your own head a lot because you're like, oh, I got to make something new, and it kind of gave me the freedom to experiment more because I wasn't so worried about making everything great, because if it was bad, I'd be like, well, I'm going to do a new one tomorrow, so if I don't love this one, I'll just make tomorrow's better. And that was sort of freeing. So experimented a lot. I don't even remember what I was answering. The ADHD is real. All right. So sometimes when I'm like doing these compositions and like working on like angles and like trying to fit it to there, and then it ends up looking really kind of boring and static, it's just sort of like a skeleton for what I wanted to do. It's just like a loose baseline to make something more interesting from. And I think that's what happened here, because it was looking pretty bland, but that structure I feel like made it better. Like if we just did these playful letters without that angle structure that I was drawing, it wouldn't work as well. Okay, let's delete that. Here, let's look at this original turd that we started with. Look at that. That's so boring. Okay. I hope you like that, Tony. Did I spell it right? Yeah, looks like I did. All right. Next up is a super chat from Mr. Jazz. Thank you so much, Mr. Jazz. Steven, you said, where do you watch auto live drawings? I don't know what that means. Glad you like it, Tony. Thanks. Okay. Mr. Jazz. What are we gonna do with the jazz? Maybe we can do something with like the J, and then like the M and the R could like fit there on like a little jazzy shelf. I think that could be fun, but what about the rest of this jazz? I don't know. Let's just see what happens. I don't know why I'm dropping down like this, but I don't like it. I'll tell you that much. Let's delete that. Kind of like what's happening here, but the mister needs to be less static if we're gonna have this like angular stuff happening. Let's see what we can do to make this better. I think this is turning into something that is pretty cool. Let's see. Let's refine it a little bit. Maybe we can use the I'll use vector, so I can use the vector trimming to get some of these like matching angles, and that might make it more interesting. I'll use my crispy vector presets, which are available in my shop. Use the monoliner so I can get a consistent line weight for this. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is just draw some like long lines that may. I just want to try to like repeat lines. And by repeating lines, I mean use like the same line for multiple things. So I'm thinking like the bottom of this J and that part of the Z might be interesting. I think just having things sort of like have relationships with the other letters in terms of like how they line up. I don't know if that makes sense, but you'll see. So basically with the vector trimming, I can trim off the excess, but I can use it to like make like lines that relate to each other. Like for example, I'm thinking this bottom of the Z can be like the bottom of that A, and I want them to be like mismatchy angles, so it has some like energy to it, but then still feel cohesive because of how it works with the other letters. There is also a very solid chance that this may not look good, but it may get us to at least like a starting point. I know this probably looks wild, but I think it'll make sense soon. I'll do some trimming in a minute to try to help make it less crazy. Okay, so let's trim some of this. So if I double tap the modifier, I can like get rid of all this stuff in here and like that. We can like start to see some stuff happening. So I'll like do this leg for the A on this one. And now we can just get rid of this other stuff that we don't need. Now we've got the A. Lewis Murphy, you said you're skipping work to watch this. Well, I support it. Oops. Okay. Haziana said, your name is Hazy, you're from Malaysia, you're a big fan. Always watch your videos, helps me a lot. Thank you. Well, thank you so much. I'm so glad to hear. I don't know how I feel about this Z, and it's hard for me to tell right now because we got all this extra stuff going in. Oh, maybe it's okay. I don't want that line. I think that's, I want there to be like a relationship between some of the letters, but not ones like right next to each other all the time, because I think that will not have as much energy. Visual energy. Okay. Let's figure out all this jazz over here. This one's a little tricky because it's tiny, but I also like this process because it just feels, I don't know, satisfying that to like make the letters out of the lines that you have carried over from like the other stuff. Can I get that? No. I'll have to manually erase that. Actually, I might fill it in solid. I don't know if I want the M to be that tall, but I might see what it looks like. Give it a shot. Actually, I didn't want to trim this line because I might need it for the bottom of the J. Oop. Tiniest little things. Okay. Okay, let's delete that, and right off the bat, the Mr. stuff is a little too big, so I'm just gonna make it smaller, even though I was like caught up on using those lines. I'm not gonna do that. Oh, I have an idea. What I'm gonna do is duplicate this, and then on this one, let's get rid of this jazz, and then I'm gonna fill this in like that. On this layer, I'm just going to select the inside and then erase it from here. And then just going to give it like a 3D look. I'm going to make my brush smaller to make this easier. I think I'll just have to go in and erase the edges on some of these, but that's okay. It'll be easier than trying to line it up perfectly. All right, let's merge that down. Okay. All right, so now I'm just gonna erase those little overlaps. Lewis Murphy, you said you're still using MS Paint. You saw when you draw, you make the sound effects of what I'm drawing. I do that too, quite a bit. I'm sure I've done it in a live stream before. Actually, I think I just did it with the Octo Rage. I also find that I make the faces of faces that I'm drawing. I didn't really notice it until, well, because I can't see my face, but when making videos, I'm like editing it and I see my, like, doing weird stuff with my eyes. It's kind of silly. I like the way this turned out. I hope you like it too, Mr. Jazz. Yeah. All right. That was fun. Next up is Mike M. What are we gonna do now? Maybe we could do like a big M and then have Mike at the top or something. Maybe if we do it more like this. Then maybe don't know what we're doing, Mike. We're trying to figure it out. We're trying to make something cool. Let's maybe we can make it look more badass, but use this as like a loose starting point. Let's pop open the symmetry. Let's do that, and let's make a shape to work from. So I'm gonna just grab pink and Scotty, you said, about how long does it usually take for a project for client work, roughly time? Well, there's so many variables between like the kind of project it is versus like how much they have their shit together in terms of like getting you what you need or like responding to feedback. Whether it's like a simple illustration or, you know, something animated, there's just lots and lots of variables. For example, I'm currently working on some animations for this college, and the work itself isn't taking that long, but it's taking forever to get like feedback on stuff like that. So we're just like working on a different timeline, I guess. So I mean that project's been happening for many months. But most of it is waiting. But sometimes it's like a quick thing. Like I just did some stuff for this other client where it was all wrapped up in like a week because they were on top of it. My sketches came together quickly and just kind of worked out. Okay, so I'm going to use this and just try to sketch something cool, roughly using this shape. Maybe we'll lean into like the cool, like kind of badass metal kind of thing. Why not? I hope you are ready for your new metal band, Mike M. All right, let's do it. H. Kelly, you said chaotic is good, especially from artists you look up to. Your content is so refreshing as it feels authentic, which helps others feel like they can reach their potential too. That's really nice feedback and great to hear. Thank you so much. I apologize if this isn't your vibe, Mike M, but I'm just leaning. I'm leaning into it. Maybe if it's not your vibe, it can be your alter ego. Ed Sandwich, in Fresco, is there any way to lock the orientation of the page while working? I'm sometimes goof up on the angle of some work. Well, oh, like, because if you're like zoomed in and you don't know the angle, what you could do is turn on like your grid and just like have it be subtle, like low opacity, and then when you're rotated, you can still have that there as a reference point. You could also like not have as many guides. I always forget to use these, but anyway, that might help you. Having weird Apple Pencil issues again. There's some thing happening where my line weight is like changing dramatically. Like there's some setting changed because like this anchor has subtle pressure sensitivity in that regard, and I'm wondering if it's like one of the Apple Pencil Pro features that's like overriding something that I need to disable. Yeah, see? What was that? This brush doesn't have that much pressure sensitivity. I could also need to... No, I was gonna say replace my tip. Tips last forever on this nano texture iPad. Speaking of nano texture iPad, when I made the first video about my getting the nano texture iPad Pro, a lot of people asked me to do like another video and like down the road to see how it was holding up, because so many people were convinced the texture was just gonna get so chewed up and scratched and just awful. And I kind of forgot, but on Tuesday I have an 8-month because it's apparently been 8 months somehow, follow-up video. And I also review and talk about some new iPad accessories that I've been using, so look out for that. I'll give you guys a little spoiler alert. The nano texture is completely fine, no scratches whatsoever. It's been amazing. This eye is too chonky, so I'm thinning it out because it looks dumb. And then I'll just make up for it on this the M. Patrick Putman, you said you think you found a bug in Fresco. Sometimes my context menu does not come up for my layers until I switch tools and go back. It also gets hung up on selecting multiple layers too. Weird. I haven't had that issue. It does sound annoying though. Okay, let's see. Cool. I think that turned out fun. I hope you like it, Mike. It's a little aggressive, but listen, we're switching things up. Sometimes you make this, and then sometimes you're like, let me just make something pretty like this. We got some variety going on here. I like when there's a wide range of stuff in a live stream. Oof. We got a super chat from Enrique. Thank you, Enrique. I still keep wanting to do some sort of like crazy all-day live stream to like coordinate with getting to or close to 100,000 subscribers, since I'm very close. I just don't know when I would do it. Any ideas or suggestions for something that I could do? For some reason, the idea of just like doing a crazy live stream marathon seems like a good idea right now. I'm sure I would not be, based on how kind of crazy I get after just one of these weekly live streams. Imagine how much I would go crazy during a whole day thing. Just imagine. Did I spell this right? Okay. Mike M said, thank you. I love it. I'll be using this as my alter ego all over the place. Awesome. So glad to hear. All right. Let's start with like a flowy line. Like that. Maybe. Actually, I think it needs a little bit more. Instead of redrawing it, I'm going to use the liquify and see if I can just kind of exaggerate it. Yeah, liquify is good for this kind of thing. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of play around with using... Actually, I'm going to do what I always tell people to do. I'm just going to simply write out the letters in the space. And then use that as a guideline, just for like placement. Just sort of playing around at the moment, seeing how we can get these letters to sort of fit together in a fun way. I think this R needs to be a little wider. So, if you've been watching this whole time, you'll look at this and be like, well, that looks like trash right now. And you'll think, hey, maybe this is going to be like the other times where he starts and it looks like trash and then it turns into something good. That's my hope, but you know, that's the process. You take trash and then you try to make it better. Okay, so let's see. I'm just sort of like looking at the way the letters fit together and seeing if there's like interesting ways that we can make it more fun. Okay. Let's delete all this other garbage and look at what we have now and think, okay, it's a little bit better. It's still not great, but it is probably workable into something. Can we do? First, I can look at the chat and say, Kyborg, awesome seeing you use the symmetry tool. Learning CSP and seeing you bust this out just got me to Google if it's available on there, and it is. Awesome. Yeah, symmetry is helpful for some things. It's funny, I never used symmetry in the past, but when Fresco didn't have it, so many people were like, being like, where's the symmetry? They were so mad. And then when it finally was available, I was like, oh, I should like try it out to make sure it works okay. And then I just, you know, realized that there's like some useful applications for it. Like when I'm trying to fix up a composition, and sometimes having a little bit of symmetry is useful. Also like experimented with some fun improvised drawings where I would just kind of do the whole thing, like just doodle with symmetry on and see where that led. So I'm trying to like loosely keep the same structure that I had, but break those lines a little bit so it has a little bit more energy. Maybe we can do like a centered 3D thing. Yeah, why not? Okay, let's do it. Lewis Murphy said, when drawing on Procreate/Fresco, do you ever feel like you've put too much detail in one particular place and then zoom out and it's all small screwy? Actually, what was it? There was a video that I made recently where I talk about, it's like digital illustration tips is what the video is about. And that is like one of the key things that I talk about. And one thing that I like to do when I'm drawing is I just like figure out what my minimum brush size is gonna be. And that way, even if I'm wildly zoomed in and I try to like draw some crazy detail, I'll realize I can't really do it because the brush is too big, so I can't even draw the shapes at that size. And then it'll be a reminder to be like, oh, you're zoomed in too far. So if you don't let yourself go below a certain brush size, like so for example here, I'm working at 18. If I was like zoomed in like a lunatic and I'm trying to draw something, I'd be like, oh, clearly this is not gonna work. I think I talk about it in more clarity in that video. But it's a very recent video, like within the past few weeks. For some reason I'm blanking on which one it is. If someone remembers and you could link it in the chat, boy howdy, that would be a delight. I've officially said boy howdy as a joke so many times that it has become something that just pops in my head to say in those situations where a boy howdy could be useful. I'm not qualified to say boy howdy, so it's a little bit weird. Is qualified what I'm trying to say? No, I'm just not a boy howdy type, if you will. That's also another thing that I say all the time. Who even knows what it means? Just can't stop it. Can't stop, won't stop. All right, what am I doing here? Illustrating, you said, is the barrel roll causing the thin brush line? Yeah, I think that's maybe what it might be, because I remember when it first came out, I remember like turning something off for it, I think, and then I recently had to reinstall Fresco because I thought there was an issue, but it turns out I thought there was an issue with mine, but it turns out there was like an export bug issue they were having. Anyway, when I reinstalled it, all my settings were mixed up or not the same. So I wonder if I just have to find that again, because I can't think of anything else that would be causing it. Cool. I hope you like that, Enrique. All right. I was gonna say that's the last one I can do, but then I looked up and I saw that Kyborg is next, so I'm gonna draw Kyborg. All right, what can we do for the Borg? I don't know what's happening. I'm just sort of freestyling around right now. I was like trying to go with like a retro sci-fi vibe thing, which I guess is maybe happening. I like that little KY. I didn't mean to say that. Oh, this is already kind of fun. I like where this is going. Let's see what we can do here. So this, I think I liked the that up angle on the other side. James Alas, you said you've done a couple of 24-hour gaming live streams for a local charity. It helps if you have other people with you. Oh, that's a good idea. Maybe I can have some like special guests join me throughout the day. That's a great idea. This is kind of fun. I like the way this is turning out. I need to be a little bit careful when I do the final line work, because I feel like this is one of those that could, if I try to go too tight, it could lose what makes it good. I'm not sure though. I want to just see something. I'm going to turn on symmetry for a second just to, I don't want it to be perfectly symmetrical, but I want to see how close some things are. Oops. Okay. So I'm not necessarily going to follow that completely, but I may use it a little bit. I'm gonna do this one in vector, and I'm gonna use my gritty vector preset. I'll link below if you want to check it out. Okay. Aaron King, you said you've been trying to create your own random character for the animator and realizing my monster people skills aren't quite there yet. It can be tricky. You know, what could be fun is just like taking one of the existing characters and just sort of like redrawing some of the features in your own style. Because like you can download you can like open up the sample characters Photoshop and then like kind of recreate your own versions on there. Octo Rage, he said, you've been doing some posters for your friend's band for free and just made a t-shirt design for them for free too. How do I politely tell them that some payment for future stuff would be nice? Well, I think that you're making stuff that they're selling. And, you know, if they're like making sales, they're going to be way more likely to get it. But next time they want something done, you could be like, hey, you know, I was definitely down to help the cause at the beginning, but now that you are wanting to do more because they're selling, let's get me paid a little bit so that I am not just, you know, working for free. And I think it's going to go well because they're going to clearly be like, yeah, we're getting value out of this because we're coming to you for more. I think the symmetry situation on this one, I think was probably a good idea because I think it made it more cohesive. We'll see when we look at it. Ah, I forgot to trim that. That's okay. Yeah, I think this turned out fun. I like it. I hope you like it, Kyborg. Let's just very slightly push this O down, just a wee. And yep. There we go. I think that was fun. I like it. This has been a fun live stream. Thank you all so much for tuning in. New video on Tuesday. Check out the Patreon. You know, thank you. It's been a good talk. I'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.